You're watching News 10 ABC at 9 a.m.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us out there. Well, a recent study suggesting that 2 to 17-year-olds who spend at least 7 hours per day on screens, they're more likely to be diagnosed with depression or anxiety than children who engage in less of that screen time. So this morning, Chris Johnson, a mental health specialist from the Rensselaer City School District, is joining us now to talk about kicking that addiction, which is so hard. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Now, in the commercial break, we were just saying, we're culprits of it right now. I have my cell phone like it's an appendage on my body, and it really has become a part of who we are. What are you seeing when it comes to your students in Rensselaer City School District?
Yeah, honestly, in a lot of ways, I've been impressed, but also concerned in the same ways. When I get to go into classrooms, kids are actually very, very good at being able to identify both some of the positive, some of the negative things that they're experiencing with their phones, but at the same time, we are still fighting a little bit of an uphill battle because it is more entertaining than their math class that they're sitting in.
And speaking of entertainment, you know, we just got into that summer season. Your last day was Thursday, right?
Yeah.
And kids are about to have a lot more time on their hands to spend on their screens. So what's your suggestion for parents on curtailing that?
Yeah, routine is such a big part of what we do in terms of just leading a pretty healthy lifestyle. And summer disrupts our routines, which can be a good thing. We love a little bit of extra flexibility, but also our phones can disrupt those routines too. So now you've got two things working against each other.
Sure.
So that feeling of, I don't really have anything to do today, so what's it matter if I spend an extra hour and a half on my phone before I fall asleep? Well, you know, research shows that you're gonna have worse sleep, you're gonna feel groggier in the morning. So keeping some kind of routine, whether it's I'm gonna keep my phone off for the last hour before I go to bed, setting an alarm in the morning, those routines are really, really helpful in setting us up for some kind of success.
Now, say you are a parent out there listening right now, or maybe you're just a married couple and you want to ditch that habit of constantly scrolling on the phone. How can you initiate that conversation, Chris?
Yeah, well, in a lot of ways, cell phones and social media, all of it, it's a little bit like junk food, right?
Right.
If I'm sitting on the couch and I've got nothing to do and I grab that big bag of Doritos, I don't know what's gonna happen.
You're going to eat it all.
You're gonna eat it all, right? But if I grab myself just a little dish and put some in there, I'm a lot less likely to overindulge. Same thing a little bit with our phones. If I've got nothing to do and I'm just pulling out my phone, it's not a conscious decision that I've made, but I'm watching something and at the same time I'm on my phone, that's the kind of stuff where we can overindulge. But if I make a concerted effort to say, you know what, I need to do something, I'm gonna go outside for a walk and I'm gonna give myself half an hour to spend some time on my phone. We can't forget the social aspect of social media.
Right.
It can be a really good positive thing as part of a routine, but there's got to be that balance. So setting yourself up to say, you know what, I'm going to give myself a half hour, 45 minutes, that can really kind of help set that mindset of, you know, this is something I'm doing for entertainment, but I still have stuff to do throughout the day.
And we know that there's still a lot of fallout from the pandemic when it comes to whether it's learning loss or socialization for a lot of kids out there. How can you also suggest when it comes to physical activity or meeting up with kids during the summer season? Because that can be tough when you don't have that structure that you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I recommend for parents to look at, schools, local organizations like the Boys and Girls Club, public libraries, or even like places of worship, there's always things that are going on in the community. So it can be really hard to know exactly what's going on. In a lot of ways too, our phones can help us find out, searching what's going on in the area today or this week. So finding just things to do. A lot of schools I know will keep lists of low or no cost like camps or just experiences for kids and for families. So being able to kind of set something up of, well, even if it's something as simple as we're doing a family movie night tonight. Yeah, you're still watching a screen, but again, now it's a social kind of thing, and it's a lot more like, if we're keeping with the junk food analogy, sharing some popcorn rather than having a whole bag of Doritos to myself.
Right, you're at least having an interaction there with the screen and other people.
Right.
All right, the last question I want to ask you is, do you have a suggestion? Like you said, phones can help for the screen limiting apps or putting a stopper on your phone itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Most phones, I mean, iPhones definitely, Androids have them too, have built-in ways to limit your device use, or at least give you a heads up of, hey, you've been using for this amount of time, as well as most video game consoles too. So research, it's so hard to tell you exactly for everything, but research parental controls on whatever device that it is, even for ourselves, parental controls, right? To set a limit to say, hey, you've been using TikTok for the last 45 minutes, maybe it's time to take a break. Every device is having them built in now. And again, it's like saying, I'm just gonna grab a little bowl of chips. I'm just gonna give myself that 30 minutes, that 45 minutes.
And you don't know how much you're picking up the popcorn, picking up the chips until you really get to see it. So I think too, at least for me, having that screen time visualization of saying, oh my goodness, that's how much I've been on per day, I think can help too.
Yeah, and whenever I go into classrooms, a lot of times I have kids check it out, and it's always fun to see the responses, the shock of like, I can't believe, wait, 7-8 hours a day, I didn't even realize it was, and it's always such a fun conversation when that happens. So getting some of that own self-enlightenment can be really fun too.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Chris. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's 9:29. We're going to be back with more news and your forecast. Meteorologist Jill Swed.